Right, so our friend the Slurpy X2, the little video earlier of it on the bike with it slurping away because the damper's cavitated, which means the gas that was in there is now in there. So everything is stripped down, drain the oil out, clean all the IFP out, rebuild, new seals, full service basically. Put it back together again, but in the meantime I'll give you some pointers where all the problems happen and things we can do to stop it from happening again. So catch you in a bit. Now, dead giveaway, something's gone amiss. This is the IFP, this is where the gas goes in. So there's a floating piston. Piston's supposed to be back here, gas. Which means when you take the valve out, you should be able to slide this back, take the clip out, take it out. When the piston's sitting behind it, you can't even push it down. That's when you know the air that was in there is now in there. We're going to crack the bleed screw off. I can guarantee you they're going to pour herself out a nice oily milkshake. So what we do, that way around like that, get ourselves something to capture the oil in. Brace yourself. There it comes. To be fair, it's a lot worse. Now just going to push that down. Here's that lovely air-filled oil, which is the reason why the shock's not working properly. So, bit of a strip down, back in a sec. So there we go, all broken down into its bits. Nothing really anything savage going on. Nothing to be alarmed about anyway. We're just in the usual IFP failure, which means when that gets aerated, you can even see, even though it's going to go in the bin, I always take it out to see if there's any bits in it. Just gives you a clue if anything else is going wrong, but it's pretty clear. Nothing harmful going on there, which means no oil, nothing to worry about with the valves and stuff, or the shims breaking, because these shims can crack. You end up floating around in the system. If you find a bit of that in the oil, you know something to go looking for. But that's going to be the culprit right there. Plastic IFP that lives in there, moves up and down as and when the damper is inserted or comes out of the damper chamber, which obviously offsets the volume of this being either in or out. Problem is, these are only lubricated by the damper oil, and the damper oil is, once upon a time it used to be 10 weight, but we're now down to 4 weight, so it's like water, which means it's, although very well controlled under pressure, not the best lubricant in the world. And now we're seeing more and more IFP failures. So what I tend to do with these, a little bit of additional lube in the way of suspension grease, just to back that seal up really, give you something to slide against rather than basically running between the thin oil, which means that running against the metal can end up being a dry seal, especially if it's been sat for a while. As soon as that happens, that gas is sat in there at 120 psi, 150 psi, depending on what you run them at. That leaks past, ends up in the oil. You get gas in oil, gas can be compressed, which means your damping then goes right up the shitter, and you end up with a slurpy shock. So that's the prognosis of what's going on with this thing, which is, like I say, the norm. So now it's the mundane time to strip it all down, give it all a clean, put new seals and bits and pieces in it, and start putting it back together. And we'll jump back on a bit when I'm at the stage where we look at the IFP. We can see it working, just so we understand where the problem lies. See you in a bit. Another cool little trick when you do any of your air can stuff as well, because I know a lot of DIY guys out there, and I'm all about sharing the little tricks. You can use float fluid or you can use grease, but Fox 20-weight, I'm telling you guys, this stuff is the nuts. I mean, literally, look, tiniest little bit, and this stuff is as sticky as you like. So when you put it in the seals and bits and pieces, it doesn't go dribbling and running off like the Fox float stuff does. So literally before you put stuff together, whack a load in there. This is on the wiper seals, yeah, not on the sorry, on the piston seals, not on the wipers. Wipers, nothing. Don't put grease on nothing. Put grease on these things, becomes a shit magnet. Put that in there. Once that's done, that's in there. So lubricating one side, dirt retention the other. Means that now will run sweet as nuts. Little trick. Right, so where are we at so far? So led the system, refilled with the correct oil, which in this case is a Gen 2 X2, which is on the 5-way. So in the later ones with the little IFP that run on the 4. Set the IFP height, which is the calibration of the IFP, which you can see it down there now. This has to be set at a very specific distance. Google RockShox can break these tools out. They actually got measurements for you, so you ain't got to sit and mess around with verniers and stuff. But I've made little lines for the other shocks as well, so I can literally just drop this in there, like that, to the line. Know it's the right distance. Bosh, done. So next thing now, whack the cap in, fill it for the air, because X2s are an air-based system. I've said for years that all these people are worried about nitrogen and stuff, that the only real thing about nitrogen is it's dry. It's got no moisture in it other than air, but in the right environments and stuff, you ain't really got to worry about it. Air is 78% nitrogen anyway, so unless you're worried about little water droplets in your system, or you know, you're going to run a system hard enough that you think that the increase in temperature will have an impact on the oxygen in the system, then fine. But all the top end systems run on air, so it's good enough for me. Right, back in a sec. Nearly forgot, didn't I? The grease in the IFP that I mentioned earlier. Don't know if you can see it in there or not. So a little smear of seal grease around there works wonders, trust me. I mean, I use, like, you got RockShox dynamic seal grease. I think it comes in a massive pot, but use that, slick honey, strand butter. That will do pretty much the same job really. But the RockShox seal grease is it's sticky enough to stay where it is, but it runs in a dry environment. Whereas the strand butters and the slick honeys of the world, they're pretty oily, and because the IFP is only a very slight movement, which if you watch here, if I push the shaft of the way in, you can see the IFP barely moves. So that's the sort of travel it runs in when it's inside there. Obviously operates under high pressure. So yeah, a little bit of grease, get the seal nice and tidy. Job's a good one. So we're all pressurised, all done. IFP on these are set 125 psi. And the moment of the truth is, if I push the shaft in, silence. Poking a hole in the side of the end. That is what we're after. That means there's no air in the system and the damper's working as it should. Now to bang the rest of the cans back on, new seals and stuff like we said, and whack out the bike and give it a run. Back in a bit. So here we go, pretty much boxed up now. One last little cheat for you, or a little hack for you guys out there. If you want to basically check the health of your IFP, i.e. how well it's performing and what sort of state it's in, you take the little cover off the end, which has got the 6mm on the end of it. Don't worry, it is literally just a cover, alright? It's a threaded dust cover. Inside there is your Schrader valve like you get in any other air shock. Go on foxride.com, I think that's what their website is, whatever the Fox website is, and basically you can find it where you are. Generally speaking, X2s up to the very recent one are 125 psi. Coil versions are 150, the new ones are 100. Whack your shock pump on there. If that air pressure is down low, that air has gone somewhere. It's either leaked into your shock or got out through your valve. Either of which is not very good. If your shock isn't slurping, it might well be that valve is just let by a little bit and you can pump it back up to 125. If you're slurping, you put a shock pump on there and it's less than 125. Time for a service, guys, like you've just watched me do. And that is it. Right, finish up, get on the bike, give it a test. And there we go. Fitted, tested, give it the bounce test every rider knows. Best to make sure the bike works. I'll set up, get on it, and you bounce up and down. It's the law, isn't it? No slurping. It's the best I can push up and down anyway, one-handed. There we go. Job's a good one. That's how you sort the X2s out. Sorted. Right, till next time, guys.